Good morning, everybody. Joining this Halocha Liyuna, doing the Rebbe's Takona of learning 3 Prokim and Halocha Liyuna. So the Rambam writes in Peidik Ches from Hilchas Klei Hamikdash, very, very famous Rambam. The Rambam writes, Bigdei Kahuna Muter Lehonis Bohen. You're allowed to have a Noah, even though there's special clothes to serve in the Beis Hamikdash as a Kohen, you could use it. Lefichach, Lei v'sheison b'yem avidosri. A day that you're serving the Beis Hamikdash, you could continue wearing it. Afilu shalei b'shas avoda. Even if you're not mamish serving the Beis Hamikdash, but like Mefarshim say, the Gemara says in Yuma, you cannot leave the Beis Hamikdash, but you're hanging around, you could continue wearing those clothes. Chutz mino avneit, besides the belt, the gartel, mipnei shehu shatnes, it's made out of tzemer or pishtim, of wool and linen, it's shatnes. You're not allowed to wear shatnes. Therefore, osur lekayin hedyet l'lov shoy ela b'shas havoda. They cannot use it only when they're actually serving the Beis Hamikdash. They're doing a transgression. They're wearing a gartel with shatnez, with wool and linen. They were given a special leniency to do it when they are sacrificing animals for the Beis Hamikdash. If they're sitting down, relaxing, they cannot wear it. They're not given that permission. However, the Raavad says, Loi mechvim min hagimora. This one the Rambam writes that they could only wear it b'shas ha'aveda is not seems so from the Gemara elo kol hayei muter b'mikdash. Even the Avneit, which is shatnez, you could wear in the Beis Hamikdash. So we have here a machlekes of the Rambam and the Raavad. The Rambam says that you could only wear it mamish b'shas aveda. But if not, you're doing an aveda. You're doing an aveda of malchus. You can't continue wearing the avneit. The Raavad says, no, it's muter in the Beis Hamikdash. Even the Raavad says you can't take a walk home with the avneit, but in the Beis Hamikdash you're allowed to. Dafür verstehen, what's the machlekes of the Rambam and the Raavad? If you could wear the avneit when you're not doing the aveda, or you could only wear it b'shas aveda mamish. There's a long shagisarye, and in Simin Chavtes, Simin Lamed, beautiful shagisarye, going into this machlekes, the shagisarye says, the Gemara says, if you have a doubt, if you're obligated in a korban chatos, you bring a bird, a chatos, ala sofik, you have a doubt, and you throw away the bird. You put it away in the tu'ubar, v'teitze, lebeis hasreifa. You burn it. Asks the shagisarye, how could you? How could you bring the bird ala sofik on a doubt? How on a doubt can you do an aveda of shatnez? From this is a raya to the Rambam that it's muter even shalei b'shas aveda. Because if not, the Kohen wouldn't allow to misofek be over anisa shatnez. It's a long arichis in the shagisarye. The shagisarye brings another fascinating Gemara. Gemara says that Alexander the Great wanted to conquer Yerushalayim. The Gemara says that Shimon HaTzadik came with his shmoina begodim, with his 8 clothes, marching towards Alexander the Great. Alexander the Great fell right away. Out of honor to Shimon King Gadol, he was going to destroy them. So his friends asked him, why the change of heart? So he said, whenever I go out to war, I see his image telling me, go for it, you're going to win. So when I see him in live, of course I bow down. So the shaila is, if the gartel of the King Gadol is only allowed to be worn b'shas avodah mamish, it's a special leniency. We find this by Shabbos. Do you say hutra or tchuya? Do you say it's muter, or you say it's a special leniency? If it's a special leniency b'shas avodah, how did Shimon King Gadol wear this Avneit to meet Alexander the Great? There's a beautiful sikh of the Rebbe on this. Kute sikh is chelik lamed vov, tetzave. The Rebbe says like this. That according to the Rambam, it's the chuya. So memela, it's only b'shas d'avoda. Shenkin, according to the Raavad, big di kuhuna, don't have an issa shatness. So the question is, if so, if according to the Rambam there's no prohibition of shatnez by clothes of kohen, why can't they wear it outside of the Beis Hamikdash? Why only in the Beis Hamikdash? So the Rebbe says in the order 17 in the Sikha, Pashat Tetzave Beis, the Rebbe answers, he brings a Shakotari of the Rogatchover, the Shakotari of Shagasaya, Simon Lamed, and he answers, outside of the Beis Hamikdash, the Kohen can have a noah from it. So it's not considered Kohen's clothes outside of the Beis Hamikdash. So the prohibition of shatnez comes back. But the Rebbe explains why is the heter of wearing shatnez by the gartel. And the Rebbe says, because the gartel is a simon of preparing for God. Because the gartel was very long. Lamed Beis Amma. 32 Amma, according to the Shitta, according to some Shittas, is 64 feet or 50-something feet. Very long. So they made it around and around. All the other clothes of the kohen were to help him dress him, cover himself, the pants, the shirt, the hat. But this, you could tie yourself twice and you're tied. To go around 64 feet again and again and again, it's like you say by Gartel, Hichoin likras elikecho Yisrael. You prepare to serve God. You're devoted to God. Therefore, says the Rebbe, by this beged of devotion and commitment, here you have the heter of shatnez. Because since you're committed to God, you don't have yourself involved, then you're allowed shatnez. When you're in your world, there is a contradiction from Tzemer and Pishtim, they don't get along. But if you're totally bottled to Hashem's Ratzon, everything is Hashem's Ratzon, you have no questions. You could wear shatnez. Where is this mostly felt? By the Avneit. The Rebbe explains, according to Kabbalah, the machlekes of the Rambam, the Raavad. According to the Kabbalah, what's the problem of wearing shatnez? The Rebbe brings the Rabbeinu Bechaye. The Rabbeinu Bechaye says, why can't you wear shatnez? Is it because the pishtim is evil and the tzemer is kedusha, so you can't mix them? If that's the case, there's no clip in the Beis Hamikdash. According to the Raavad, you could wear the bigdei kehuna a whole day. According to the Tam of Rabbeinu Bechaye, that you can't mix tzemer or pishtim because they're two separate energies. Like you can't mix meat and milk. You can't mix it. So if that's the reason, you could only mix it when you're actually serving Hashem. The Rebbe goes in great detail, the Sikha. And the Rebbe says, Avneit, the gartel of the Kohen, is explained in the Chassidus of the Mittel Rebbe, in Ateres Rosh, that Avneit is the commitment to Hashem. The commitment to Hashem from Yechidah Shebenefesh. The very strong commitment. Over there is no question of shatnez. Like it says, Oisa Sholim Vimreimov, the Eibishter makes peace between the Malach of fire and the Malach of water don't get along. But when they're together with the Eibishter, they get along. When you're committed to the Eibishter totally, like shatnez, that's Yechidah Shebenefesh. And since that's Yechidah Shebenefesh, that's on such a high level, there is no problem of shatnez. You're totally committed. The Rebbe has a question. So why could the Kohen Gadol wear his clothes a whole day? The Klei Hamikdash, says the Rebbe, since he couldn't leave the Beis Hamikdash, he was totally committed to Hashem, even if he wasn't doing the actual avodah. Committed. There's no question that the Kohen Gadol, when he went to save the entire Jewish nation, he was also bottled to Hashem totally. But there's a lot to learn about the Avneit, which is commitment, and why Dafke by the Avneit was there this special heter, the allowance to wear shatnez, because when you're totally committed to Hashem and don't have a self-agenda whatsoever, at that moment, everything is possible. So that's why at that moment, there is no contradiction between Tzemer or Pishtim, and you could wear it. I had a very interesting experience in Moscow when I was in Moscow in 1990. I met a Jew that Rabbi Mendy Cohen, and Rabbi Mendy Cohen He was a Jew, walked on crutches, and he was a moil. And when he did a bris, if they found out who the parents were, they could lock up the parents, everybody. So he tells me, as I was walking with him, helping him go to shul in the Moscow snow, he was telling me that when he did a bris, they would blindfold him. Because he couldn't see the parents. They would bring him to the baby, undo his blindfolds, and then he would cut. And then they would blindfold him again. And he says to me, Mendy, you know, I had the strength to fight in Moscow, to put my life on the line. If they caught me, they could lock me up in Sibir. What gave me the strength was my father. My father, when he used to walk with me to shul when I was a 5-year-old boy, would sing me a song. And the song was, Bind mir zu. Tie me tight. Bind mir zu. Yitzchak told Avraham. You could find it in the Medrash, also in the Slichus of Tzom Gedalia. Yitzchak told Avraham, tie me tight. I should be a kosher korban. That song of Bind mir zu. Yitzchak was getting killed. He was worried he should be kosher for God. That lyrics of the song always remained in my ear and gave me strength to have Mesiras Nefesh like Yitzchak and go do the bris. So learning this Shich of the Rebbe and the beer of the Rebbe connected with the Avneit reminded me of this story. The Avneit is Bind mir zu. Tie me tight to the Eibishter. I should have no other desire just to do what Hashem wants. Tie it around 64 feet again and again. Tie me completely to Hashem. Here we see the machlekes of the Rambam and the Raavad fits to their general shitta. The Rambam says, in order to take away yourself, you have to be b'shas avoda, working. You have to be working for Hashem. You have to do something for it. It doesn't come by itself, milmaila from God. You have to work for it. The question of the Shagasaya, how could you bring a bird on a doubt? You're working, you're serving Hashem. It's also avodah. When you're doing something, that takes away your selfishness, and you could have shatness. But the Raavad says no. The etzem fact that you're in Mokim Hamikdash, you're in this holy place, that takes care of all your selfishness, and you could have shatness. Just being there. This is very similar to what the Rebbe explains in the Sichos Chelik Lamed Dalet, that the Rambam is an Avedas Hamata. The person has to work. But the Raavad is on the Eibishter's Amunah, the Neshama, Milmailo, that they pull the Yid. So here too you see clearly that the Raavad learns that the etzem facts in the Beis Hamikdash, that's enough to take away his selfishness. And the Rambam says, no, you need avodah, you need to be doing something. You can't, being there alone is not enough. And this fits with his general outlook on life. God bless you all. What a wonderful day.